Good morning, Robert and Aaron.
Big announcement, was it yesterday? Cattle Commissioner Jim Taliaferro says he is answering the call to serve and is seeking the office of mayor of Shreveport. Initial thoughts? What do you think?
Well, yeah, I'll start with I wasn't really aware there was a call out. The election's really 2 years away, so it's kind of shocking to see somebody step out so early. But I think it's more in response to the mayor stepping out and saying that he was going to seek re-election. And so we kind of have a unique situation where we have two major candidates announced almost 2 years out from the election. I think both are more worried about clearing the field and trying to establish their lane they're going to run in than the election's so far away that the dynamics are even hard to predict at this point.
Is this a message from Jim Taliaferro to other Republicans? Hey, stay away. Again, you said clear the lane. It's like last time with Leo Savage in the race, it was kind of a hurdle for both of those men.
I would agree, Aaron. I think this is, on Mr. Taliaferro's behalf, this is really a 100% Republican Party move. He wants to get out early. He wants to put people on the spot. He wants to get endorsements from Republicans, and he's really seeking to be the Republican in the race. It is. Let me make it clear, and I like Mr. Taliaferro. I've known him for a long time. It is really an uphill race for him. And so if a Republican's going to have a chance to win the mayor of Shreveport, they're going to need to be the only Republican in the race. They can't split the party. But that said, it's still going to be a monumental task, I think, for Mr. Taliaferro or any Republican to win the mayor's seat in Shreveport at this point.
You know, it's an interesting point that you made because I saw a lot of Facebook stuff last night after the Taliaferro announcement pertaining to other potential Republican candidates. And it was basically, okay, Taliaferro's in, no other Republican get in the race. Don't screw it up for a Republican. When you say Taliaferro, it's really a smart move because now if any other Republican gets in the race, they'll face the criticism from Republican voters. Well, you're just trying to lose it for Taliaferro and Republicans, aren't you?
Yeah, I think that's a fair commentary, Robert. I think it's a very smart move for Taliaferro. Again, it's a 100% Republican side of the equation move, but I think people have to remember the Republican side of the equation in Shreveport-Bossier is a shrinking number, especially on the Shreveport side of the river. So while this is an exciting announcement, if you're a Republican, if you're a Taliaferro fan, it may be an announcement for second place because if you go back and look at the numbers, I'm just not sure the numbers are there for a Republican to win at this time in the city of Shreveport. And remember, this election's not in April or May. This election's in the fall of 2022. Mm-hmm. And so whatever's been happening in our community is going to continue to drift that direction for another year and a half before we go to the ballot box. I mean, I deal with electability. I don't deal with whether people are nice or they're the right person for the job. I deal with electability. And sadly, I don't think Mr. Taliaferro is electable. I don't think any Republican's electable as the mayor of Shreveport. To me, this race sets up like a reverse race of when we saw Mike Johnson run for Congress. When we saw Mike Johnson run for Congress, we saw 5 Republicans get in the race because this congressional district is a Republican congressional district. And we saw 1 Democrat. We saw Marshall Jones. Well, Marshall breezed through the primary, and he was on the final ballot, but he never stood a chance to win the election. Whoever won that, in this case, Republican primary, was going to win. That was Mike Johnson. He won the race. This is the same to me. I think Mr. Taliaferro may be the one Republican, but whoever wins the Democratic side is going to be the mayor.
You compared this run by Taliaferro to Adrian Perkins, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. To Adrian Perkins' run against Bill Cassidy. Like, you know, you're the one Democratic contender in that race, but you have no chance. Fair comparison? I guess because you made it, huh?
Well, I think it's a fair comparison. I think if Taliaferro is the one Republican in the race, he thinks he has a chance, but we don't even know the field yet. Adrian Perkins will be on the ballot, maybe. We don't know. It's still 2 years away. He's not very popular by all standard polls and measures that we look at it right now. He's got some political issues, but he'll be a candidate. But I think the comparison's kind of fair. The other thing I think that Mr. Taliaferro may need to look out for, just being purely open, is a lot of people attacked Adrian Perkins for winning the mayor's seat and then turning around very quickly thereafter and saying, but I'm going to run for this other job. It was the U.S. Senate, but it was to represent Louisiana. And now Mr. Taliaferro, who ran for mayor in 18, I believe was the race, turned around in 19 and ran for the Cattle Commission. And now here we are, not even a year and a half into that service, he's announcing he's running for the mayor of Shreveport. So you're going to get the same claim back from the Democratic side, the African-American side of Shreveport, saying, you did what you just accused Mayor Perkins of doing. winning a job and immediately seeking a higher office. And then I think we're also going to see some issues, like Mr. Perkins has had some issues from his run. I think Mr. Taliaferro is going to probably have some political flack for the next 2 years as he continues to serve as commissioner on the Caddo Commission on a very divided commission. I don't think that's going to be good for the commission politics either.
Not to make you say it again, but I'm going to make you say it again because Erin had said earlier this morning, looking at the Keel poll and some other stuff, and she said, so who then is electable? And I just looked at her and said, what you just said. Unfortunately, in my case, not a Republican, right?
Well, I mean, 2 years out, I look at the two announced candidates, which right now are A, Mayor Perkins, and B, Jim Taliaferro. And I think most of Shreveport's going to say C right now, none of the above or other. I don't think the mayor's in the race yet. I think
you don't think the mayor's electable? You don't think Mayor Perkins is electable right now?
I don't believe he's electable right now. I believe that by the time we get another year down the road, I think we're going to see some candidates come out, some whose names are being floated around, some who have not announced yet or even indicated it yet. I think we're going to see a kind of wide open primary where there may be 4 or 5 legitimate people run. And we could see the mayor's problem he's going to have is the primary. If he gets to the final ballot, he may win again. But I think in the primary, where's his support going to come from? I don't see strong support across the African-American community or even the Democratic Party. I don't see remember, he was at odds with his own party. He wasn't endorsed by some major people in Louisiana for his Senate run. I don't see that he's going to get a vote in the Republican side of the equation like he got last time. Mayor Perkins got elected because there were Republicans that crossed over and voted for him. That sort of was the deciding factor for him. He won't get those votes this time. I really think he may struggle to get through a primary.
Okay, let me run some names by you, kind of rapid fire, and you tell me electable, non-electable. Brian Crawford, a no-party candidate.
Non-electable.
Okay. Lavette Fuller.
Lavette could be electable. She comes from a swing district. She's had some issues in her past, and she's controversial to some, but she's also probably the most moderate person on the council right now. Okay.
Mario Chavez.
I think Mario Chavez could be electable. Mario Chavez is a Republican, but Mario is obviously also Hispanic, and that gives him some crossover appeal. And Mario could be the one Republican I would look at that could be interesting.
Stephen Jackson.
Stephen Jackson, he could be competitive. I don't know if Commissioner Jackson can be electable. I think he takes fire from both sides. He's very interesting. He's got a lot of governance background. I don't know that he can win the mayor's seat.
What do you think the strategy and or the thought was behind such an early Perkins announcement?
I think one thing about Perkins is that there's no downside to Perkins saying that he's running for the job he currently holds. Again, filing for this will not be till July of next year. I'm just guessing the date because I hadn't even seen the calendar yet. So we are 18 months out from filing. So there's no penalty for Perkins to announce that he is running for re-election. There is a huge penalty if people think he's not running for re-election. He becomes a lame duck, as we use that term in politics, and then they will start battling immediately to replace him. They're already battling to replace him now. It's just quiet. If he announced he wasn't running or people felt that he was not going to run, then we're looking at a year and a half of him being, quite frankly, a lame duck mayor.